Is it your ways that they gon' imitate? Non-violent. Sometimes I wish I would've went to college. Frown proudly. Cause where I'm from, they hate you when you smiling. Your face should be your gun. You can't leave home without it. The children being grown, cause all the parents acting childish. You show them your reality, I bet they doubt it. You tell them all about your dreams, just when they out it. Your own blood. Ain't no family no more. Or do you barely for show? Try to patch up your soul, Lord knows you on a mission to show him you so submissive. The prayer said in silence, you know the devil can hear him, pay attention. Know the war's within. How much time do you spend? Try to balance your sin, then again, losses is lessons. You tell me you trying to win. We know about saving money. You tell me you trying to spend that blood on it. Sweat this, you put that love on it. Your best years were just a dumb moment. You tired of going home. Can't deal with fake, making your life lonely. Your lack of faith to left your soul bone. But you gon' work and you gon' try. Do what it takes to survive. What is true, what is a lie? You know that war's inside. Some get draped into the fake, they don't know what to decide. Wrong choice, meet your demise. Keep that between you and I, you realize. Some people you gon' let go, you visualize. The things you need to feed your soul is on the rise. They not gon' wanna let you go, but it's alright. It's cool to bury what's gon' grow. Went from wrong to the right and to the dark to the light. It was a hell of a fight. You give it all your mind. Gotta hold on tight and you stay strong and precise. You fight the war that's inside, cause it might change your life. Wrong to the right into the dark from the light. It was a hell of a fight. You give it all your mind. You can hold on tight and you stay strong and precise. You fight the war that's inside, cause it might change your life. I ain't the person that I used to be. So what I do today ain't things that you used to see. Stay the same, no things change usually. Some folk I may know might get reintroduced to me. Yeah, I ain't the person that I used to be. So what I do today ain't things that you used to see. Stay the same, no things change usually. Some folk I may know might get reintroduced to me.
Yeah. Don't be stressing on the dumb shit, cause God is gonna make a way. Just keep going and keep your faith, so you can win this race. This race called life, yeah, yeah. This race called life. This race called life, yeah, yeah.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Y'all already know it's your boy Humble Mystic in the building, representing the TDL Titan Debate League. Today we have a special guest. The Elder put on an amazing showing last time he was here. Elder Knowledge Born Allah in the building, everybody. Give a round of applause for the Elder. Hold on, give me a second. So how you doing, Elder? How you doing today?
Glad to be back, man. This is one of the premier places out here. You know, the debate coliseum. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have your stuff together over here. I'm glad I ain't on the chopping block over there, because folks, something serious. Man, glad to be here with you,
Right.
Humble Mystic. Shout out to you. Shout out to A1. You know what I'm saying? A1 from day one. You know what I mean? So.
Most definitely. Last time you was here, Elder, you said you touched on some pretty important topics to myself, and I'm sure they were pretty important topics to other people in the comments. One of the topics that you touched on that was pretty close to home for me was how important it was to share financial literacy amongst your family, amongst your close relatives. How important it is to get your relatives and your immediate family on the same page, so you could continue to build and not continue to fall into the poverty cycle, as they like to call it. Can you touch more on that, brother?
Well, definitely. I think the Bible say a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children's children. You know, something like that. You know, one of the biblical scholars will tell you what the truth is about that. So, in that essence, you are determined how you seek to be remembered in that case. So, if you don't leave an inheritance, you leave a bill. When they call your name, they're gonna be like, "He left a bill." You understand what I'm saying? Versus leaving an inheritance. When you leave an inheritance, when your name is called, it's spoken with honor and reverence. So we live our lives in the physical world, and one of the ways that we're looking to be seen in the future comes from how you're going to be remembered when you're no longer here physically. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So,
Mhm.
one of those aspects in regards to that is provision. So, from a financial perspective, your children and their children should benefit from your transition in that way. So,
Mm.
there are a lot of products that are in place, but just also from the life that you live, what you
Right.
created, like who you put on, who did you inspire, what messages did you leave,
Right.
so
Right.
uh, inheritance comes in many forms. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? Inheritance comes in
Most
many forms.
definitely.
So
Most definitely.
definitely want to be able to leave something that people can glean from continually. You see
Mm.
what I'm saying? So your family might benefit financially, but if you created a product or a service or uh, an invention, those things live on long after you're gone. So if you wrote
Right.
something,
Right.
if you created something, or you created people, you understand what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
they live
Hmm.
on. So
That makes
beautiful.
sense because I often say um, one of the issues with our people is we all try to fit the same role. We don't really grasp the concept that we are meant to fill many different roles. Some of us are meant to teach, some of us are meant to paint, some of us are meant to dance. And so
Right.
when we understand that in a family aspect, once again, just like you were saying, um, we can move more as a collective. You spoke a moment ago about inheritance, right? And I know that financial inheritance is one type of inheritance that we strive to leave to our younger generation.
Hmm.
However, what is an inheritance that not enough elders leave to their younger generations, you would say?
Proper instructions, for their
Mm.
labor. I think we don't do enough of actually explaining, what some of the things are, some of the things that we went through, that we lived through. You see what I'm saying? So we'll just tell somebody like, "Yo, I don't want you doing this, or you ain't doing that," but you're not telling them why. You're not telling them your lived experience. It's like, look, I went through this situation and this happened to me, blah, 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 blah. I just don't want this to happen to you. I care about you. I love you. You understand what I'm saying? We just
Right.
say, oh, I told you don't go over there. See what happened to you, dumbass, blah, blah, blah. Like, we'll do that instead of, you know, us, spending that time, right? I'll give an example. Like the Freaknik tapes, right? The people, they was worried about the Freaknik tapes coming out. And they was like, oh, you might see your mama or your auntie on there and blah blah. Instead of sitting your children down and say, hey, look, I was your age, and this is what we was doing when we were young. So this is why we're kind of strict on y'all because of that. We don't want y'all to fall into some of the same traps that we fell into. You see that?
Right.
But they're being out here being ashamed and all of that extra stuff. Like everybody's going to live their life.
Mm-hmm.
If you can leave some guidance, if you can leave some instruction, if you can leave some knowledge, wisdom, understanding for the next generation, give them what you wish somebody would have gave you in that
Right.
regard. Like
Right.
you didn't have to figure it out on the street. That's another thing of inheritance. Like you don't want them to inherit your misdeeds. You see what I'm
That
saying?
makes
They
sense.
they have their own journey. They have their own thing that they want to live by. But being real with them. And the
Mm-hmm.
youth respect the real. If you out here pretending and fronting, then they're gonna look at you like that. They know how to
Right,
handle you.
right. You know, me and my brother Ashe, we got well, he coined the phrase. He called them Uncle Ruckuses. You know,
Mm,
the the older people in the community who want to look like elders or who want to be elders, but they their message seemed to be more against us than for us. You know,
right, right,
and those people they do get a lot of attention, but from my point of view, it's not the proper attention. You know, some
right.
people be in the public eye. You know, I'll give an example like a Charleston White. You know,
Hmm.
I don't think that he's a proper example for our people. I don't think he needs to be on the platform being the spokesperson for our people. You see what I'm saying? And the reason
Right.
is because he's reintroducing or he's restabilizing the same frame of mindset that we're trying to escape.
Mm,
So now it's like, bro, these people then put you up here so you can perpetrate a character. He done said this many times, right? That oh, when I get up there, that's an act. I'm a character. So where's the authenticity? Why do you
mm,
feel like you gotta be somebody you not to reach your people if you already know everybody that look like you coming and conniving and scheming? So why not
right.
be the different maker? Right? Why not be the one that's truly coming to his people and say, listen, I'm here. I got something to help. Hey, listen, let's get on this bandwagon and let's move on out of here.
Right.
And so those are just for me, just explicitly what you was just speaking on. That for me is what grinds my gears, and it's elders like you that keep me waking up and keep me doing what I'm doing every day. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, here we got brothers over here who want to be elders, but they don't live up to the expectation of an elder. Right? They
Right.
don't leave our community no guidelines, like you were saying. They don't teach our community about the things that we truly lack in life, right? Not just in society and what the image that they perceive on us, but something of essence to carry around,
Right.
something that ground us and root of who we are, right? And it's like this generation and our community in this generation are so quick to push y'all out the door and say y'all don't understand us. And in fact, it's our generation who's not willing to listen because we think we know everything. Yes, it's cool that we got all this technology and all of this, but I don't care what we develop 50 or 100 years into the future, it'll never replace our elders. It'll never replace the experience of our elders that they can give us. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right, good. But and so that was a powerful piece that you spoke on there, brother. I would like to ask you, uh, and I don't know if you got into much of this on the last panel, but how did you start this journey? Like, what woke you up one day and say, "This is what I'm supposed to do"?
Well, I give all praise and honor to my mother and my father. You know, they both put me on that path. You see what I'm saying? From birth, and even before birth, even before coming here. So life, the trajectory, the conditions that we find our people in.
Mm-hmm.
It either make you or break you. You understand what I'm saying? The hero, the villain starts there in regards to that. So my birth uh, was a catalyst for me to do what I needed to do. You said you one of 10 and I'm one of 7. You see what I'm saying? I'm directly in the middle.
Right.
Three older and three younger. Fourth child, third boy. So just even that significance in that regard, coming into a family and dealing
Mm-hmm.
with that from that perspective and purpose. Like everybody was born on purpose with a purpose. So those aspects of the story is something that I sought after, with my siblings, then in my neighborhood, then in the schools and all of these things. Right. So coming up in the way that I did, my parents already had a responsibility. They were already in the community helping people get off drugs, helping people with afflictions, helping
Mm.
people get out of prostitution, all of that. This is what they were
Okay.
doing for
Okay.
black people in our
So
community.
you
You
just
understand what I'm
came up
saying?
in that.
So that was their mission, that was their calling,
Right.
right? My mother and my father. So I carried on in tradition in
Right.
my own offering space. All of my siblings, everybody has their own offering and what they give, and this has just been mine, from birth. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So just continuing on in that lane, in that vein, was something. I want to go back to something that you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Charleston White, for instance. You know, I don't know him, but I know people who know him, personally. And the character that he puts on the internet is just that, a character that he puts on the
Mm-hmm.
internet. When he was somebody who was quote unquote straight laced, and he wasn't talking the way he was talking, he wasn't using any of that kind of
Mm-hmm.
vernacular, people rejected him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he comes with this, that he gets rejected for that also, but he also is reaching a lot of people at the same
Right.
time. So, you know, these instances in regards to what salaciousness is out here and licentious behavior, it, it, it speaks to, however, what your appetite is. So
Right.
you got
Right.
an appetite for smut, you got an appetite for indecency, and this is what you're
Mhm.
promoting, or this is what you want, or you telling your algorithm, for instance, that you want to see more of. It's going to continue to feed you that. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So if you're looking for him to do that, that's what he's going to do. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
You can find there's other people that is out there, you know. So for what he does, that's for the people who gravitate towards that. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So uh, I don't have those aspirations. You
Mm.
see what I'm saying? I don't have those aspirations. You know, the goal and the mission has always been the same. And one of the things that I speak about is the mission is more important than the moment.
Right.
So it could be a moment where you upset. You understand what I'm saying? Or you're
Yeah. Yeah.
discouraged, but you remember the mission. What
Mm.
you do in that moment matters, because the mission
Right.
is also an amalgamation of moments, right? So defining moments and moments that you might deem unfavorable. But your
Right.
mind, you decide in that moment where your mind goes. And
Mm-hmm.
his moment, he was like, "They don't like me like this. When I was the hero, now I'm the villain." You understand what I'm
Mm.
saying? So now the people is like, "Oh, he's the villain. We love that. Let's get
Right.
some of
Right.
that." You understand what I'm saying? So many of the people who out here who are speakers and who are teachers and different kinds of things, they give different kinds of offerings. They have to present themselves in a manner that is befitting to them, that they're comfortable
Right.
with. You understand what I'm saying? See my brother Swab Boss in the
Super
building. You
spy
understand what
boss
I'm
in the
saying?
building.
Black Power all day, every day. Uh, so that's a beautiful thing, right? So I'm not pretending on the internet because I don't know how to be other than self. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I think I got a capability. I could push a button and try to be other than self, but to what end? My children watch everything that I do,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere that I am. You see what I'm saying? So my children, my siblings, their children, my nieces and nephews, people are watching you. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you're comfortable with this level of disregard or dishonor to your family, then more power to you. Uh,
Mm.
but for me in that instance, nah, I don't have that, you know, inclination in that regard. I don't have the inclination to do my family a dishonor or a disservice. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Imagine looking at your father on the internet being a fool.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he comes home to you and wants to, you know, extend, you know, orders. You see what I'm saying? Or authority or something like that. Like you're supposed to take this man serious and he's a clown on the internet all day.
Yeah.
So what kind
Yeah.
of life are they going to have? They're going to school, they're out in the social settings and things like that. Like, oh, your pop's a clown. You must be a
Right.
clown too. Now it becomes problematic. So everything is fine as
Mm-hmm.
long as there's no situation of accountability in regards to that. But once it is, It is because people believe what they see, regardless of what people say. People believe what they
Right.
see, whether it's true or
Mm-hmm.
not. So if you out here in that regard, dishonoring your family, you got to think about the long term effects of that. So
Mm.
whether people like what I'm saying or not, or whatever it is, I have to continue on doing what I'm doing. This is a part of my mission. I can't allow the
Right.
moment to dissuade me. You see what I'm saying? And that's just the motivation that continues to keep me going and growing.
Mm-hmm. I want to speak to two things that you spoke on in that sequence. Two powerful things. One powerful thing was uh, when you learn self, and not only just you, but when you have other people who are watching you, that's holding you to a certain stature. I know me and brother A1 talked about this a bit, and I was explaining to him that, like, when I'm over on my home planet, I have people that watch me, right? That's why I don't say certain things. That's why I don't go off the way that other people do. That's why, like, I really have people that hold me accountability. I allowed him to speak to my mama queen, and I was like, hey, listen, like, this is one of those people. If I ever get out of hand, if you ever felt like something, hey, look, you call Mama Queen, say Mama Queen, hey, humble, blah 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 blah. She get me right. You know what I'm saying? So I have people that watch me do what I do, that because I have such respect for, I operate in the manner that they brought me up in. And because I know I just don't represent myself, I represent them as well. So I wanted to speak on that. And I also wanted to ask you a question, brother, because I know I faced it. And so I want to know. Give me a second. I'm in Baltimore, so you're gonna hear police cars right up down my street. Hold on one second.
Yeah, yeah. All good. I already understand. I already understand.
All right. So I wanted to ask you, how did you overcome the adversity in your journey, the adversity to try to persuade you to stop doing what you're doing, right? How did you overcome that and continue to have the strength to keep doing or keep on your path, and have the strength to not let anybody sway you from the path you was destined to be?
That's a beautiful question. I'm not here for anything or anyone else. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here because somebody got their life taken by the police, or uh, unfair treatment, or whatever the case may be, because all of those are concessions. So if you upset, for instance, about something, shout out to my brother YG Preach, man. We used to go back and forth, and I used to tell him about the peanut butter and jelly analogy.
Right.
So if everybody has peanut butter, we good with that, right? Until
Mm-hmm.
somebody introduces, like, yo, you're supposed to have jelly with this peanut butter, right? You're like, what? Yeah, everybody else got jelly with their peanut butter. You're like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
You like what? You was good with the peanut butter, right? This the
Right.
peanut butter sandwich. I'm making a inference, right? And then somebody introduces something that seeps into your mind and your heart. Now you're in
Mm-hmm.
the space that we call dissatisfaction, right?
Right.
So when this dissatisfaction is introduced, now all of a sudden you have a space of dismay.
Mm.
Now you upset. You upset. You out there, you
Right.
protesting, you rioting, you doing all of this stuff for some
Mm-hmm.
jelly. And they be like, "Oh, you want a jelly? Jelly? Yeah. Now you're not mad no more. Oh,
Right.
I got jelly like everybody else. Like you had to burn down the city and did all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You got jelly
Mm-hmm.
like everybody else, right? So what does that mean? That means that if something is introduced to you that you're looking for, that's all it takes to change
Mm-hmm.
you. So if the police start treating you better, then all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore. You see what I'm saying? Like you're not upset anymore. So the conditions that confront us as a people, they don't disappear, right? They
Right.
dissipate. You see what I'm saying? So the conditions we find ourselves in, the things that we give our attention to, the mind frames
Mm.
that we operating in, that jelly's not gonna solve it. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? The jelly not gonna solve it. But this is what motivates people. People get into some of these causes. You understand what I'm saying? They get into some of
Right.
these spaces and they start to look at that. They
Mm.
you motivated by that. So okay. So all we got to do is say, "Oh, we ain't giving you no jelly.
Mm.
We ain't giving you no jelly." Now what you gonna do? You understand what I'm saying?
Now
So
what you go?
it's
Hey,
yeah,
right.
it's a
Right.
different thing because these things that continue to try to motivate people or incite people to move and sustain, that's not enough. That's not going to sustain you long term. So
Mm.
going back to the question that you asked, I didn't come here for anybody else. I didn't come here because I read a book.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I didn't come here because uh, somebody got drugged from the back of a pickup truck. All of these things
Mm.
are instances, but what's going to sustain you long term? What's going to sustain you long term? Because in this elevation space,
Right.
for liberation. There's bumps, there's bruises, there's scars, it's thankless. You understand what I'm saying? You might get
Yeah.
backstabbed, you might be betrayed, somebody you love might leave you, somebody, you know what I'm saying? All of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
you're content on this is still your goal, your aim, and your objective, you got to take, like the brother said in the movie Fences, the crookeds with the straights.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You got to take the crookeds with the straights. So I can't, in good conscience, just for me, I'm here and then I'm not here. You understand what I'm saying? My mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my father, my grandfather, my great grandfather all walked this path before me. It's my
Mm.
ancestral inheritance to be
Mm.
on this path. So even in times where things was difficult, because there was a time it's like, oh, I just want to be regular like everybody else.
Right.
I just want to be regular. And I didn't have no peace. This path
Mm.
haunted me back to it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
somebody might listen to that and be like, damn, that's a trauma bond. You got a trauma bond with liberation? Yeah, like some people might have that. But if this is for you, it's for you. If it's on you or it's in you, it's for you. It's not for everybody else. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is
Right.
your goal, your aim, and objective. And for them, it's their goal, their aim, and objective to do what it does. So if you look at the book series is tailored towards what we need in the future, what we need
Right.
right now, and what we need in the future, long term sustainability. You know, we need uh, architects, we need scientists, we need
Mm-hmm.
technologists, we need engineers, we need uh, artists, and we need agriculture,
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
mathematicians. You understand what I'm saying? So we
Mm-hmm.
need entrepreneurs. We ain't going nowhere without no black woman. We need our black
Facts.
woman. You
Facts.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Let me drop a
so
bomb for
the
that one.
the revolutionary thought leaders, we need strategic planners and visionaries. You understand what I'm saying? We need
Mm-hmm.
the right narrative and motivation for us to continue to go. We need the right propagandists. We need the right
Right.
educators. You see what I'm saying? So we need to know how to win and
Exactly.
how to take a loss. You
There
understand
you
what I'm
go.
saying? So
Yep.
there's a space of emotional regulation that comes along with both of them. So
Mm-hmm.
all of these things right here, and we deal with the aspect of organization. We need to know how to organize properly, right? And
There you
then
go.
we also need to know how to survive, right? How to
Mm.
survive and how to thrive. You see what I'm saying? So all of these aspects, these 13 volumes are dedicated
Mm.
not haphazardly, very strategically, with intention. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
getting people motivated around that fact, getting our people, young black people, into the mind frame and the mindset to be able to do for self, just like our
Very
ancients taught, just like
yeah.
our elders taught. You understand what I'm saying? Accept your own and be yourself. Do for self. Everybody is out there doing,
Cool. Mm-hmm.
right? They're
Yeah.
doing. So back to the benefit of family, the benefit
That's
of the black family, that's supposed to be your greatest source of inspiration, not your greatest letdown. You understand? So when you look at that, your greatest source of inspiration and motivation can't be your greatest source of degradation and destruction. You understand what
mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So when we remove a lot of these angst and things like that from the situations in regards to the family, we remove the degenerates. We remove these other things that are there. Now we can just focus on our family righteously. Our children deserve to grow up in a world where there are no predators that are preying on them. You understand what I'm saying? They,
Yes.
they,
Yes.
they deserve to be. Our elders deserve to get in transition righteously. You see what I'm saying? Like, so the environment that we exist in have to be in a space that promote optimal health and longevity. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
People are around. Like, they got a thing called a think tank. You know what they pay them people to do?
What?
To think. They pay them to think. They 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 don't have to worry about future comforts or anything. So imagine if you ain't have to be worried about how I'm gonna pay the bills, how I'm gonna pay the rent, how I'm gonna pay the mortgage, how I'm gonna do this. Like if all of those needs was met, just imagine what your mind could create in that space. Now, you see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
when you're at peace within yourself, the possibilities now become endless.
Right.
Endless, right? We got folks that are addicted to struggle, addicted to abuse,
Yep.
all of
Yep.
those things that like ritualistic and
Mm.
continue on a loop with it. You see what I'm saying? They're married to it, they wedded to it, and they will fight you and try to take your life if you try to move them away from that. That's what
Mm.
Morpheus was talking about in the Matrix. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So helplessly dependent upon this system. It's the state of mind he was talking
Right.
about that you wed to, that you have a symbiotic relationship to. We have a symbiotic relationship to trauma. You understand what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
Hmm.
the people humble, they wake up in the morning and they go on their timeline, they looking to see who hated on them, not who loved them. You understand what
Exactly.
I'm saying? So
Exactly.
these become instances in essence where folks are dealing with this on a continual basis. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm looking for somebody black to celebrate every day, all day, every day.
Hmm.
That's my only strive. When I have this up on, I'm looking on this timeline. So if it's not something celebratory or something useful, X. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see it
Exactly.
again. I don't
Yep.
want to see it again. So I've trained my timeline like my
Hmm.
mind line, humble. I train
Yeah.
my timeline like my mind line because this is how I think in my mind. So my
Oh.
social media behavior reflects my life. You
Yep.
understand what I'm saying? So if I wouldn't speak to you in life, I'm not going to speak to you on, social
Mm.
media. But if
Mm.
I see something of worth of value in you and I want to promote it, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to promote it. I'm going to put it in my story. I'm going to reach out for an interview. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
these aspects of hearing what these stories are over the years became something that I added as an addition to this liberation elevation experience. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Notice I
Right.
ain't say struggle, right? Folks will be like liberation struggle. You can't be talking about struggle and liberation at the same time. If you're looking to elevate,
There you
why
go.
aren't you speaking that language? Why are
There
you
you
speaking that
go.
elevated language? You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'll end with this, and we could go on.
Hmm.
My motivation, regardless of the time, circumstance, and place, has always been looking for a way to put our people in a position to win. We deserve to win. We deserve to elevate. We deserve to have a time where this thing is something that's a distant memory. It no longer exists. You
There you
understand what I'm
go.
saying? Somebody got to look in the book to find out, like I was actually going through that. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
our future generations don't even need to have this in their memory. You understand what I'm saying? Like they have no
Yes.
concept of it
Yes.
whatsoever. They got to look
Yes.
in an encyclopedia and be like, oh,
Yep.
this is what it
Yep.
was like in the
Yep.
2000s. You see what I'm saying? And the work that we continue to do on ourselves, the work that we continue to do with our families, and the work that we continue to do for our futures will prove that.
There you go. Oh my gosh, man, that was amazing word. And it touched me, bro. Listen, when I see you, Brody, when I see you, Elder, I see someone I wanna pass my 33 years of living transform into, so to speak, right? And the reason is because I know I'm 33 now, and I do what I do because of what I've went through, what I witnessed, right? And at some point in my young age, at 17, 18, a question hit me like, there's have to be something better than this. It have to be. It can't be, I can't do this because I'm black. It can't be, I can't succeed because I'm from the projects. It can't be every day I wake up and I'm going to school, my sister telling me, don't be a statistic.
Right.
Like, so, like, that's where it comes, like, yo, it gotta be something more. And for me, it came from motivational speaking, right? It came from the Les Browns of the world, the Eric Thomases of the world, and then that led me to the Bob Proctors, the Zig Ziglars, right? And I learned that it was levels to transmitting practical informations of life. It's a difference between a motivational speaker and a life practitioner. A motivational speaker can motivate you for 20 minutes and then that die down and you ain't doing nothing. But a life practitioner can literally hand you the keys to get you out of any situation of life that you may be in. Because for us, it's not about talking, but it's about action. It's about experience. It's about what we've been through and what we learned along the way. And how can I make the next, for me personally, 33 years of my life different than the last 33 years of my life? How can I live my life more fully, right? In the more complete sense, right? And see how you were saying, like, it was ingrained in you, right? I told you I was the youngest of 10. I don't know what a father is, but I had 4 children. So I had to learn, I had to teach myself how to be a father. I got twin boys. So now I get to teach them something totally new. Something that I didn't have to go back and oh, well, Dad, how is this? I don't know. Hey, I had to make it up as I go along. I had to, hey, listen, I had to trip a couple times. But what I do have is now I have a solid foundation, right? So when my sons get of age and they become fathers themselves, right, I can now lay a solid foundation upon my sons of saying, hey, brother, this is how you become a great father, right? Not from my absence, but what I've instilled in you, right? So you're not just going to learn from everything I did great, but you're going to see my shortcomings as well. And you're going to see why I had shortcomings. Maybe I was rushing too much, right? Maybe I was letting lust and greed get the better of what my circumstances was, right? And it threw me off of my course. So now, son, I'm warning you, when you step into this pool, these are the sharks you look out for, you know? So these are just some of the things that just gets instilled in me, brother. When you talking to me, Elder, when you talking to me, I swear it's like it's a mirror that goes up and say, humble, this is why you do what you do. This is why you give back to the community as much as you give back to the community, because you're not the only one that feel this. You're not the only one that go through this. And listen, sometimes I feel like I am, right? Definitely in the environments I'm in, right? Because a lot of times when you're in environments where it's no longer about, just as you were saying earlier, Elder, when you're in an environment where it's no longer about the mission, but everything is about everybody and themselves, everything corrupted. So it's hard for a person like myself or like yourself, the genuine ones of us, to come out and say, hey, let's get back to this mission. Because in reality, they scared to deal with the actual mission.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? They don't know. And the hard truth about that, elder, is it shows their lack of trust in us.
Mm.
It shows that here's an elder that said, I got the blueprint. But yet you still running over there to get something that's not meant for you. When it's a whole cake right here that's meant for you and you welcome to it. But yet, because as you were saying earlier, that mentality, right? That poverty mindset mentality, that crabs in the barrel. I got a man on my home planet called Crabs in a Bucket. And he said he reason he put that in his name is because every time we see him, he want us to remind us what to stay away from. Stay away from that crabs in the bucket mentality. And so it's like they see it as if like, no, we can't do it, so you can't do it.
Right.
But now, see, here's the flip of that. When we actually do it, right? Like when we see the elders like yourself out here producing books and touching young brothers like myself, right? Now it's what's your next move type of thing, right?
Right.
I'm good now. I'm on my square. I achieved my goal. I ain't looking back. What you stuck on? Are you still stuck on what I'm doing 5 years ago? Or are you going to go on about your business, or are you going to join the movement? What you going to do? And so hearing words of wisdom, words of knowledge come from you when dealing with, you know, how we treat ourselves, right? The mind state that we should have when operating in life, right? Like I know a lot of times people sit up here and on all platforms, people sit up here and they chop their gums and they want to say who's smarter than who and who da 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 da. But it's like, okay, well, how is that getting us anywhere within our communities? Where's our herbal mothers at? Where's our herbal fathers at? Where's our wisdom seekers at? Where are the people that's coming back that's showing us, okay, this is how we did it. You can leave that alone. Right. And so this is part of my work, so to speak, is to be the bridge between not only my generation, but the generation that came before me and the generation that come after me. Right? It's like somebody have to be willing to sit down and listen to the elders, and somebody have to have enough competence to take what the elders are saying and translate it to the youth in a manner that relates to them. Right? And I can say I was that person growing up, not having someone like me, like even earlier today, I was looking at myself in a mirror and I was like, bro, my children are lucky to have someone like me. My godchildren are lucky to have someone like me. My brothers, my nieces and nephews are lucky to have someone like me, because when I was growing up, I didn't have anybody like me. I didn't have anybody to, hey, this is why you drink more water. Hey, this is why you get your exercising in. Hey, this is why you play chess for 15 minutes a day. Hey, listen, you read one book today, try to read 2 books in the next 2 weeks. I didn't have anybody instill that in me. I had to learn that from someone who didn't even know I was watching them.
Right.
You know, and so that's why this is so passionate for someone like myself, because it validates, it shows me, right, that I didn't put the work in for nothing. That if I keep grinding, if I keep going, you know, there will be a reward at the end of this. You know, whether the reward be, you know what everybody say when they get their first big check, they go buy their mama a house, right? Or whether, you know, we go take over, like personally for me, and this is why even when conversating with you, Elder, one of the things I really wanted to get into uh, was personal development, right? I touched on a lot of the finances because I know a lot of people wanted to know a little more about that. But for me, passion has nothing to do with money, right? I'm going to be humble no matter what I'm doing because
Right.
that was instilled in me, just how you were saying, you came up in that. I had to instill that in me, and I had to become around people that instilled that in me and help me accountable for that. And so it's like when we doing this out of passion, right? The reward for us is to see everybody that's attached to us win, right? And for them to come back and say, I appreciate the message you gave me. That's my success right there. When people come up here, even when people in the comments, like even on YouTube, when people come and tell me, hey, Humble, I missed you, brother, where you been at? Hey, Humble, I appreciate that message. You such an
Right.
intelligent. That's my success right there. Because there was somebody years ago telling me I wasn't supposed to be doing this. There was somebody, oh, you go up there, you're going to be a laughing stock. And now I'm up here and I'm performing my tail off and I see everybody loving me and I'm like, yo, it's just, hey, how they always say is a big FU to the, to the industry, it's a big, y'all can't stop this,
Right.
and so that's what I get when I hear you speak, Elder. So I appreciate your amazing words, brother. I do. I appreciate your amazing words.
Likewise. Likewise. You're doing the great work out here. See what I'm saying? You're doing the great work, and then coming here and being able to put these things into practice. One of the aspects that we deal with very well is theory. But one of the things we don't do so well is practice. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we go back to Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was telling the people, you talk about practice, right? And this is the soundbite that they keep for the rest of his life. He was talking about y'all asking me about practice and not thinking about what I'm dealing with in real life. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, you talking about practice, he late to practice, so he's not there in practice. So, in the essence of theory, going from theory to practice, theory to practice, theory to practice, theory to practice. So, practice makes practice, right? So, things become practical, and then you can begin to perfect them. So, in essence, at the essence of it, practice leads to perfect, right? But it's a process. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you're doing something over and over again wrong. You understand what I'm saying? But no
Exactly.
matter what you deal with, and no matter how long you deal with it, you're still going to do it wrong. You see what I'm saying? If somebody taught you how
Mm-hmm.
to do something wrong, and you continue to do it, right? You're going to
Right.
continue to do that wrong. So, with your voice and with your message and how you're bringing this aspect of hope. You said motivation earlier, right? And I used the same word. It's really discipline, right?
Mm.
Because discipline, as they said in the entrepreneurial space, because we're about to talk about personal development, discipline, they said, is doing something you said you were going to do long after the feeling that you said it has gone. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what they're saying in regards to whatever your definite chief aim, your goal, your aim, your objective is.
Right.
Do you have that stick to itness? To continue to go on and persevere despite how your mood is changing, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
if you were in the gym, you working out and this is a part of your regimen and you wake up and you don't feel like going to the gym, that's the day you really need to go to the gym. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the day for the breakthrough. It's a breakthrough, right? So when you start to think about that from that perspective, when you're looking at what discipline is, right?
Right.
Motivation is necessary. Motivation is necessary, but there's the other aspect of that is your follow through, right? In
You
your
follow through.
execution, your
Right.
follow through, right? What they said in the entrepreneurial world, they say the fortune is in the follow up. You
Aha.
understand what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep.
The fortune is in the follow up. So, in this aspect, it's the follow through. Like so, the
Mm.
follow up and the follow through, right? So, you have a determined idea that you have in your head. you put it down on paper, you write the vision, you make it plain, you begin these pathways of execution. But when you're dealing with something, they'll tell you to begin with the end in mind. So you're
Mm.
dealing with what the goal is, and now you're backward planning. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? And you're being very realistic about the kinds of things that could go wrong in that essence, right? And
Uh-huh.
now you're thinking about what are the contingency plans for this particular thing that is happening, right? So if you in business, you'll hear something about a SWOT analysis. You'll hear strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now you have to be realistic about your idea, right? From that
Right.
regard, it's perfect in your head, right? Like if you said a rhyme in your head before and you say it out loud, it don't sound the same.
Yep, yep, yep.
So you said a rhyme in your head or whatever you wanted to say to somebody when it's time, it may or may not come out right. More times than not, it doesn't come out right because
Mm-hmm.
it's just in your head, right? So now, when it go from your head to your heart to your hand, that's a triune space to what you're going to
Mm.
do. So you're going to practice that. You're going to practice this thing that's in your head and make sure that you have it right and you craft it right. You craft it right. You
Right.
craft it right. So if they gave you, you know, 10 seconds to speak, it's going to be the best 10 seconds of your life because you
Mm-hmm.
prepared for that. You prepared for it down to the second. They gave me 10 seconds. All right, I'm on the clock. I got 10 seconds. You understand what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
So this is how
There you
the
go.
debate league world becomes very critical in that. Because if you got a 5 minute opening, you got a 5 minute opening. You understand what I'm saying? You're
Uh-huh.
gonna make the most out of them 5 minutes. You prepared for those 5 minutes. You got an opening round, whatever the case may be. However the format is in regards to what you do,
Yep.
this is what it is. So understanding that format becomes something very critical. So this is happening here. This is your audience. You know your audience. You know the judges. You know your opponent. Do you know your opponent? And do you know your opponent's argument? Could you
There you
argue it
go.
from that other side? You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So when we're talking about personal development, we're talking about personal development in essence to where you see all sides of the argument, all
Yes.
sides, and you respect your opponent's said ability to be able to try to catch you up in your argument. It's your
Mm-hmm.
argument. You're wedded to it in that moment, right?
Right.
So now, when you're developing and crafting your strategy, crafting your message, crafting whatever you need to impart to the people, this is what
Uh-huh.
it is. You embody that for that moment.
Right.
You embody that for that moment. So now are you prepared for that determined idea that you had in your head or this debate, whatever the case may be, to
Mm.
be scrutinized? One of the things I took from the realm of academia was that your idea sounds great in your head. I'm a open up, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. So, for instance, for me, with Voices of the Diaspora, the ebook series is a crowdfunding source for me to show Voices of the Diaspora, the docu-series, the web series.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So one is taking care of the other one. So I can impart some information here, but I could also showcase Black people in a righteous light, in an authentic
There
light.
you
Black
go.
people deserve the opportunity to be seen by the world righteously.
Mm.
Not some fool running around with a dress on and all this other kind of stuff that you think is funny and is performative. No, the joke is really on you.
There
The
you
joke is
go.
always on you.
There you
So
go.
anytime you see someone that's out there, a brother or sister that's out there, and you see them in calamity or you see them in mess, it's an indictment on us all as a collective. They see
Mm-hmm.
us all like they see this person. And they,
Mm-hmm.
it's not we don't get the luxury of being separate.
Right.
Everybody else can be separate, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, for instance, Tashina Arnold. She
Yep.
played on Martin 30 years ago, right? Do you know for the last 30 years they didn't call her Tashina Arnold? They call her Pam for
Mm.
30 years. You
For
understand what I'm
30
saying? Like
years.
30 years she has to be Pam. Every time somebody see her, ain't that Pam? That's Pam from Martin.
That's wow.
The little dude who played Tariq in Power,
Yep. Yep.
he's not Michael Rainey Jr. He's Tariq. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so he doesn't have the luxury of this was my job. This is somebody that I played on the television.
Right.
Like I'm Michael Rainey Jr. My father is Michael Rainey Sr. I'm
Right.
somebody's junior. You understand what I'm saying? Like Ghost ain't my father in real life. Tasha ain't my mother in real life. But
Right.
when
Right.
people buy into an idea and in regards to that, this is it. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is detrimental
Mm.
because Charlie Sheen gets to be Charlie Sheen. He ain't somebody from the television
That's
show. He's still
facts.
Charlie Sheen. You understand what I'm saying? So he's not we have to be able to separate that. But the personas that you buy into knows that the psychology is real because now you see one of these actors or actresses or one of these people that's out in the entertainment industry and you see that personage, you don't see them. You understand what I'm saying? They don't get the luxury of being them. So in that development process, being mindful of what you put out there because that's how you're going to be identified. That's how you're going to be classified. This is
Yeah.
where people are going to lump or group you in. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So you're not an individual Hebrew. They say them Hebrew Israelites, them
There you
Christians, them
go. There you
Muslims. You
go.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Regardless to what, whatever it is, you don't get to deal in the realm of your own autonomy a lot of the time. So
Mhm.
personally developing yourself to be able to craft your intended message for all of the targets, whoever your intended target is,
Right.
developing yourself in that kind of way. Reading, studying, building, execution, reading, studying, research, execution. You see what I'm saying? And then follow through and follow up. You understand what I'm saying?
There
So
you
a great space to look at personal development. The more you develop yourself, the
Mhm.
more you're apt and able to extend that right hand of fellowship to somebody else in that regard. Your testament becomes someone else's testimony. So your
Mhm.
testament, right, becomes somebody else's testimony. What you've gone through, what you lived through, the stories you tell, all of those things, when you connecting with people in an authentic manner, they're gonna remember that. They
Mhm.
may not remember you. One of my brothers, he said that. He said, they may not remember you, but they remember how you made them feel. You understand
There
what I'm
you go.
saying?
There
So
you go.
that becomes something.
There you go. Man, again, some more wise words from you, Elder. And for me that hit home because that's exactly where I started. You know, again, I was saying, with the Eric Thomases, the Les Browns, and then moved
Hmm.
into the Earl Nightingales, then the
Right,
Zig Ziglars, the Bob
right,
Proctors, Bob Proctor talk about Napoleon Hill a lot. I got into the Napoleon Hill books
right, right,
and so one thing I've learned that uh whether a person is religious, whether a person is spiritual, whether a person is diving in personal development, one thing I've learned is people want better for themselves.
right,
Right? We find the people who dive the hardest in these fields, and I'm talking about not the practitioners that's teaching, but the people that's attending, right? The people that go to church and the people that's watching these motivational speeches every day.
right,
The main thing these people want to feel in their life is they want to feel a void of failure. They want to feel a void of emptiness. You see what I'm saying? And they want
right,
to fill that void with positivity, so to speak, success, that feeling of accomplishment.
right,
And the it's interesting when you were saying talking about temporary, right?
right,
And then I was talking about we was talking about temporary feelings, right? Things being temporary, and you was explaining that you have to put the work in, you have to do the studying, you have to actually execute. And I think that's the biggest disconnect that our community have with these teachings, no matter what field is in, right? It could be from Buddhism, no matter what field. When
mhm,
it comes to when it comes to improving ourselves, the biggest issue we have becoming practitioners, applying the information. They'll read some stuff all day. They'll read it, get online and regurgitate it, but they'll never practice it.
Mm.
And then, like you were saying earlier, that's detrimental because now we have a bunch of people talking about a bunch of stuff that's trendy, but because they are not practitioners of this field, they really don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So we got people around here talking about the chakras, and we got people around here, you know, using the Bible for their own personal gain. It is like at a certain point, it's like, when are you going to stop regurgitating information and actually put that work in? And when I say put that work in, a lot of times, just like you were saying earlier, um, even with like the motivational and things of that nature, when we're saying putting that work in, it's personal work, right? It's how it's working on becoming the master of your own mind, right? I've heard it once. A couple motivational speakers have said this, right? You never allow people to be able to control your attitude, control your emotions, control what you think. Because once that happened, then they are the masters of your mind. And what I mean by that is, if a
Right.
person that you don't like come in a room and you was having a happy encounter,
Mm-hmm.
then as soon as they
Right.
walk in the room, your whole mood changed. That
Right.
person just controlled you.
Right.
And so when I'm talking about doing work, I'm talking about doing work in that aspect. I'm talking about doing work in the aspect of finishing projects, right? We have people out here who are entrepreneurs. We got singers, we have dancers, we have artists. And, they have work that they still have yet to complete. And it's because something you were saying earlier, Elder, discipline. They haven't been able to grasp that tool of discipline, which is a tool. And that's the thing. When I first started this, 17, 18 years old, when I first started hearing about the paradigm of the mind and focusing on positivity and optimism versus pessimistic, and I was like, okay, these are just words that until I actually had to get the understanding that these are tools. These are tools you use throughout your day. So when I'm going to school, at 19 years old and I'm catching the subway, I'm observing everything around me and I'm literally applying what I heard from the YouTube video. Oh, I don't want to visualize that. Okay, this is peace I might be,
Mm-hmm.
things it's just the application. And
Right.
so I feel like it's that piece that our community is missing. They want to get the information, they want to argue about the information, but they don't want to apply the information. Can you speak a little bit about that, Elder?
Information is a byproduct of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
So information is a gateway or a pathway to knowledge. Information is not knowledge.
Mm.
So you can't apply what you don't know.
There you go.
You can't apply what you don't know. If you don't know it, you can't apply it. You can be informed, right? You can be informed about things all the time. Like you can find information. But when you start thinking about why you want to know something,
Uh-huh.
it's based off of something. Is it going to be beneficial to you to know this or not? Right?
Mm.
So you get informed about something and you might cast it to the side. But when you want to know something, it becomes birthed out of curiosity. So you
Right.
start to wonder about something. You're looking for an answer, right? So curiosity formulates a question. One of those steps in the scientific method that they taught was your hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They call it an educated guess. They couldn't just say it's a guess, right? They call it an educated guess. They give it an adjective to describe what kind of guess it is. Educated. So not based off of emotion alone, but logic, right?
Right.
So now you're thinking about this hypothesis, quote unquote, or what you want to know. Is the earth flat or round?
Mm.
Right? So now,
Mm-hmm.
now you visualize both of these extremes in your mind, and you begin to go, research. You go
Right.
research, and in the process of research, you come across information. So there's information about the round Earth versus the flat Earth, whatever, blah blah blah, whatever the case may be. Whatever you keep, you deem useful information. Now, after you get that useful information, you convert it. Now,
Right.
you begin to test it, look at it from every angle, blah, 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 blah. So when you speak about it, you speak about something that you're informed on.
Right.
But there's no way for you to really know whether or not the earth is flat or round, right?
There you go.
So you don't know that, right? You
Mm.
don't know that. That's something you're informed on, right? So that's
Mm.
information. When you know who you are on the other side, can't nobody inform you about you
There
when
you
you
go.
know who you are. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So a lot of people, they come into information and they get information and they espouse information, and you say they don't apply it because they don't know it. So
Mm.
after you know something, now you can go through the process of applying it. What does that
Right.
wisdom look like? So it becomes wise in the application. You know, applied knowledge is wisdom. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So when people say knowledge ain't nothing, if it ain't applied, that's foolishness, right?
There you
It's
go.
foolishness.
Hey,
But they
elder.
want to deal with that. Let me just say this little part, and,
Uh-huh.
they want to deal with it from that perspective. There's a space between knowledge and wisdom. There's a knowledge degree between, meaning that there's a pathway that you have to go about doing. So the evidence of what you know can be seen in how you walk and how you talk. So either it's going to confirm what it is or it's going to deny what it is. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
where's the evidence on how you live, right? I heard people, and I end with this. They was like, yo, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X and it changed my life. But you don't see no change in their life. There's no
There.
evidence. So it didn't, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so you read a book, that's okay. But where's the change in your life? And you're talking about a man who changed his life multiple times before his departure from the physical world. So, but
Mm-hmm.
one thing he didn't do is once he got on this path was go back to it. You understand what I'm saying? Once he left that aspect of him, it's gone, and he reinvented himself in a way that's befitting to his mother and his father and the family that he came from. He stayed on that path. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So his children will always remember him as somebody on his path. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a process from dealing
Right.
with what you was informed about versus what you actually know, and then
Mm.
going from knowing in that aspect to walking and talking with it. There's evidence in your walk and your talk, meaning there's
Right.
going to be evidence in your life. And what you give birth to, whatever decision you make after that, that becomes understanding. Understanding
Mm.
is the best part.
Most definitely. And I was just gonna ah man, so on my coat of arms right here, right? As you can see behind me, you can't see the whole thing, but this is my personal coat of arms right here.
Right,
And so on that top, you can see strive for wisdom. At the
right.
bottom, it says reject ignorance. And that's
Mm,
because that saying, man, I got a saying, right?
hmm
Knowledge applied equals wisdom. Knowledge not applied equals foolishness. And
mm,
so if we're gonna have anything when dealing with knowledge, and oh man, this takes me back. You know what I was thinking about? You know what? Another thing that had me really psyched to talk to you was because you said something when I broke that down on that panel. You was talking about information,
hmm
right? And just as you was just speaking, information and knowledge, right? So you have to
hmm
get to the step before you even get the knowledge. You gotta
Right,
get through the step of information.
right,
You see what I'm saying? It's like you gotta even grasp that. Because if you don't grasp that, then you don't have no knowledge. And it's like, oh man, I was thinking about that. And I was like, you know what? that's interesting because how many times, as the point out the point out what you were saying earlier about the dude that read the Malcolm X book, how many times do we see people read these books, even
Mm-hmm.
the self-help books and things of that nature, and how often do it change people's lives? Because do you really grasp the message that's being sent to, like, that's in this book or that's in this work or that this person is conceiving, and so this is something as well that I myself strive for when I break down messages or when I'm introducing messages. I not only want to make them clear, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to make them as graspable and relatable as possible. Because when I'm speaking to people and I'm sharing information with individuals, right, I want them to be able to have a clear foundation or a clear message of what I was trying to send to them. And I noted that Zig Ziglar talks about this often when he holds his building public speakers conferences. He said most speakers miss the message. They get up on stage and they do a lot of talking,
Mm-hmm.
but they miss the opportunity to send the message. And it's because they've read a lot of books, they watched a lot of YouTube videos, and they say, I'm gonna go on stage and I'm gonna mimic this. But they haven't grasped the information. They haven't actually experience. They don't know the stuff, as Zig Ziglar say. They don't know the stuff, right? They know the
Mm-hmm.
hardware, right? They know the
Mm-hmm.
cover, what it looked like, how it, but they don't know the stuff. They don't know what it means to be on 15 tours and this many nights and things of that nature. So when they come up here, they're just regurgitating, they're mimicking, and then that's fine. Like you were saying earlier, when we go up here on our debates and we have our 3-minute presentations, 3-minute openings, whatnot, you know, when you're just regurgitating and you're making a mockery, right? That may last for 3, 4, 5 minutes. But then as Zig Ziglar was pointing out, when you're mimicking and you're not authentic, that may last for a short period of time. But when
Right.
you're on the stage for 4 or 5 hours, it don't last very long, right?
Right.
Because you run out of material, you run out of things to talk about. You like, all right, now your mind is scrambling because the message isn't authentic. And so it's just very important. Just all of that we just covered is all important to just deal with being authentic, right? And what's your message, if you have one, about authentication and authentication of a person and character?
People can tell. People can tell who you are before you say anything. Your
Mm,
energy precedes you. One of my brothers, a master astrologist, Zodiac, he says that precedes you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it precedes you. So people, they deal with that. Like, so people read energy, right? They pick
right.
up on energy. They gravitate towards energy, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's
Mm,
it's evident, right? It becomes evident. You know. So being authentic, you can be an authentic fool. You
mm,
understand what I'm saying? Authentically, you be like, oh man, there go that fool. That fool.
mhm.
To you trust that fool to be who he is or whoever her
There you
is. You see what
go.
I'm saying? When you're thinking about being authentic, they're not pretending. You understand what I'm
Mm,
saying? They're not pretending. So in that space of authenticity, they know you before they see you.
mhm,
People
mm,
know who you are, not who you pretend to be. Understanding, right? The last thing we were dealing with in regards to we were dealing with knowledge, wisdom, and then now understanding.
mm,
Understanding is the best part. It might take
mm.
you a while to arrive at that place of understanding. Understanding is what you give birth to. When
Right.
those thoughts that they talk about that become things, that's what you are giving birth to, right? So you
Mhm.
operating from a space of authenticity. So if whatever you sow, like the Bible says, you shall reap.
You shall reap.
You see what
Yep.
I'm saying? So authentically, you're going to get that. You're not going to get anything other than what you had sown. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So now dealing with authenticity, and sometimes folks like a good example of a bad example, right? They love a good example of a bad example most of the time. They don't like the truth, right? They don't like the truth because lies, they look more attractive than the truth does. You see what I'm saying? So when
Mm-hmm.
you're dealing with that realm of authenticity,
Right.
you can get an authentic lie. But let me tell you something, humble. As long as I've been on the planet, I ain't never met a liar that liked being lied to. You understand?
You better
I
tell them.
I ain't never met a thief that liked being stolen from. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I
Yeah.
ain't never met a shooter who ain't worried in their mind about being shot or shot
Yeah.
at. And so regardless of what it is, you know why? Because in their mind, whatever they had in that position, they think that it's okay. They think
Yeah.
the liar don't think he lying or she lying.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like the thief, like yo, I'm doing that because I got to do what I got to do. All right, so
Yeah. Yeah.
you the last one. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
the shooter, like they stopped making weapon systems when they made yours. Nah. So now you have to think about that in that sort of perspective. Something in their mind justifies why they do what they do.
Yeah.
So in that way, they're going to be authentically them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you find out who you are and how to be authentically you, then that's the framework that you begin to work with. They tell us in the entrepreneurial world, you got two most important dates of your life: the day you were born and the day you figure out why. That means something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Time is only relevant to those who are out for their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time. It don't matter what time it is when you ain't got nowhere to be. You don't
There
even
you
care.
go.
You It could be 4 days in the past. You still sitting in the same spot and you
Mm-hmm.
ain't did nothing. But when you have something to do, when you have some work to do, or you have to be somewhere, all of a sudden time becomes a factor.
There
So
you
your
go.
life now is shaped around what you're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing in the realm back to authenticity, and I'm in with this. Uh, Authentic is something that becomes validated. Somebody authenticates something. If somebody handed you a contract, you authenticate that contract being lawful and legal with your signature. Your signature becomes your agreed space to participate. You see what I'm saying? So now, when you say something is authentic, that means that something else becomes a replica. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So you're like, oh, is this watch authentic? Like, all right, you check it out, you know what you're looking for. So you have to get an expert to come and look at to see whether or not this is an authentic watch, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
Because the fakes look real.
Right. Right.
The
Right.
fakes look real. That's the
Yep.
job. The job is to make this look like this is a replica of what the original is. So we got authentic and that's original. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So all these things kind of work together in tandem in regards to that. So because something is authentic, something has to be inauthentic. That's
Yep.
the laws of the universe. You understand what I'm
There
saying?
you
Those are the
go.
laws of nature. So now, what do you have to be able to determine between the two?
Mm.
Your
Discernment.
ability to discern. There you go. Your
Yep. Yep.
discernment. So your discernment got to be on point. You know what I'm
There you
saying? Your
go.
discernment
There
got to
you
be
go.
on point because discernment is the only thing that's tricky. In the Nile Valley culture, they have a Natir or a deity called Anpu, and
Pool. Yep.
Anpu is one that is known to open the way. But his
Mm-hmm.
father, previous to him, was called Sutesh, and Sutesh
Mm-hmm.
was the one who opened the way. So now Sutesh has the ability to mask himself as Anpu. So
Mm.
you might be thinking that your discernment is on point and you dealing with this from an Anpu perspective,
There you
and you're
go.
really dealing with Sutesh. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So that becomes a space where that ability to discern could be something where you so, hell bent or haven't been on it that you missed that. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? You missed that. So now you open in a way with Sutesh versus Ampu. So you open in a way with something where it went from you being on point about it that you so on point, you off point.
You off point. Exactly.
Just a
Yeah.
little sleight of hand, right? A little math.
Yeah.
You understand
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So now you thinking, Ampu coming to your city and Sutesh coming to your city. So that means calamity, is fed, all kinds of things,
Right.
all kinds
Yeah.
of mischief and all of that. You see what I'm saying? So that discernment has to be in due bound because otherwise, if it goes from intemperance to excess, it
Mm.
something else.
Most definitely, most definitely. And really fast, oh man, the elder Knowledge Born Online is here dropping some amazing knowledge, giving some great gems. Hit his cash app, y'all. Knowledge Born Online. The brother is in the building. We're gonna take a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, I'm gonna ask the elder some things about his books. Let's get into it, y'all.
Power. Who has it? Who controls it? And who does the Bible give it to? Welcome to the Coliseum of Arguments presented by Titans Debate League. This is not for the weak-minded. This is not for the easily offended. This is a battle for truth. In one corner, it's a queen, bold, unapologetic, challenging the system, arguing that the Bible strips power from women. In the opposing corner, Gideon gets real, firm, disciplined, standing on scripture, defending the Bible as order, structure, and divine design. The question, does the Bible take power from women? Belief versus resistance, tradition versus challenge, scripture versus interpretation. No dodging, no soft takes, just raw intellectual combat. Who stands strong and who gets exposed? Step into the arena and witness it live. Coliseum of Arguments. Only the brave speak here. Are you not entertained? This is not a conversation. This is not a discussion. This is a war of ideas. Welcome to Coliseum of Arguments, presented by Titans Debate League. Two minds enter. One leads with intellectual dominance. In one corner, Shasad, the Hebrew scholar, armed with scripture, history, and a fire from the ancient text. In the opposing corner, humble mystic, the naturalist, challenging tradition, questioning everything, bringing raw, unfiltered logic to the battlefield. The question, was the Canaanite god El and the biblical god Yahweh the same? Faith, history, mythology collide. No ducking, no dodging, no mercy. Just pure intellectual combat. Who's got the facts? Who's got the pressure? Who's gonna break under the spotlight? You decide. Where beliefs are tested and only the strongest arguments survive. Pull up or get left behind. Let's be real for a second. Some of you claim you're the best debaters in the game, but every week you're still arguing for free. You study, you prepare, you show up, you give them viral moments, and the platform gets paid, not you. That's not competition, that's exploitation. Some leagues built their entire reputation off the backs of debaters they never intended to compensate. Clips, views, donations, super chats, and the people creating the content still walking away with nothing. Over here, we don't play that game. We are one of the only debate leagues actually paying debaters, reinvesting back into the community. Because if your arguments generate value, you deserve value. So here's the reality check. If you're really the monster you claim to be, if your research is really as sharp as you say, if you really think you could dominate any room, then prove it. And here's where the stakes are real. Warriors don't fight exhibitions forever. They fight where the prize is. So you have a choice. Stay comfortable debating for exposure, building someone else's empire, or come step into the arena where serious debaters get respect and paid. This isn't charity. This is combat.
Okay. Y'all heard it here first, man. Shout out to the brother A1. Y'all know I call him Big Boss, man. A1 for allowing us to have this platform, man, to, have our voices out here heard, have us, out here doing intellectual combat, keeping the people entertained. Shout out to the comments, for always being engaging, being supportive. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to the elder up here, dropping the gems once again. Brother Elder, I got a question for you about your books. Uh, I know you got volumes. What was your favorite volume to write and why, or put together and why?
Oh Lord. That's like Do Not Radio. Do Not Radio has over 4,000 episodes, right? Been
Mm.
around for 11 years. And sometimes I get in the interviews, Humble, and they'll be like, what was your favorite interview? My favorite interview? Out of 4,000?
Damn.
And
Yeah.
they'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, out of 4,000? They'd be like, yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So this one is a little easier because it's 13 volumes, right?
Yeah.
Each one of them required something different of me.
Mm.
So every volume that I wrote is very special, right?
Right.
So my favorite volume to write was From Nameless to Knowledge, right? That's my volume, right? Out of all of the volumes, it became very interesting and very necessary. I had an inclination to write it, but
Right.
I was compelled to write that volume. I wrote
Mm.
that volume and I wrote Power of the Black Family simultaneously. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? And then I went back through and illustrated them. With volume one, it's the first one. You see what I'm saying? So the first one, it was experimental. So I wrote the first 5 volumes, but I didn't illustrate them. One of my brothers, D Banks from D Banks Designs, he illustrated them. He illustrated them and put them together. So the first 5 volumes, I wrote them. I wrote them, did the research, all of the stuff, formulated the ideas together, but it was it was just words on the paper. Like he formatted them and put them boom, 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 boom. Like he illustrated them and gave them life. He took my manuscripts, quote unquote, and gave them life. So I looked at them like, oh, this is crazy. And then I found the software to upload them and then, format them in a certain kind. So the writing process was fun. I wrote in different places. And one of the best places that I had been to actually write was Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico for about a month, almost 2 months, and I was there. And while I was there, I was writing. And it was something about being on that island, but also being in the mountains that gave me a sort of clarity space
Right. Right.
versus writing from Nameless to Knowledge and the Power of Black Family. I was in Miami. And it was
Mm.
something about being in Miami, you know, uh, in a celebratory mode and space.
Mm.
So it was the weekend of my born day, and I was out
Right.
there celebrating. And there's a space when you deal with something from an astrological perspective, right? There's a time that you were born every year around that time, depending on where it's at, the actual time that you were born and the astrological positioning
Right.
is not always the same. So I'm born on the second, right, the 2nd of June, but where that actual return
Mm-hmm.
was closer to the 31st and the 1st, May 31st and June 1st, right?
Right.
Was born on June 1st. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm.
it was a celebratory space between the 30th and the 2nd because of how that energy was actually moving through, right? So when
Right.
you put it from that perspective, that's something. So because I had received such abundance in regards to celebration, I wanted to be reciprocal
Mm.
in manner to give back an offering from everything I received. And on
Right.
that day, the actual day, I did 6 broadcasts and released 2 books. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? The 6th month, the second day, right? So this was, literally 8 books now. You understand what I'm
Oh
saying? On
wow.
the
Right.
way to 13, right? So that was the time frame, and I'm just thinking about it like this was bugged out. I was up for days. I didn't rest, but blink in between a little
Mm.
bit. But I was on that grind to make sure that on the 2nd of June, this was my offering back to the world. And that day,
Right.
I heard from people that I didn't hear from in years, all kinds of things. People I served with, just people from the neighborhood, people I grew up with, people
Mm-hmm.
that's in the now, like all of those people, everybody came, right? Uh, I don't do too much social media, too much like that, but
Yeah.
on that actual day,
Mm-hmm.
the, everybody who said, "Yo, happy born day, God," blah blah blah, whatever the case may be, I wrote them something back as to what they mean to me. You know what I'm saying? Like what they mean to me. So it's like if somebody shouting you out, and they celebrating you, you should give them back some reciprocity. So
Right.
nobody was expecting me to do that. I just was dismayed at the fact that folks reach out to you and then it'd be like 2 or 3 days later, and then you get
Mm-hmm.
one post with, "Yo, thank everybody who showed me, love on my day. I appreciate
Exactly.
y'all." Like you couldn't respond to the people. You couldn't you couldn't take a moment to respond to the people
Mm-hmm.
who reached out to you in that kind of way. You're going to just do this
Yeah.
blanket thing. You understand what I'm saying? So I see
Exactly.
people do that, and I was like, all right. So back to from nameless to knowledge, that was the first time that I wrote something personal.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I wrote personal in regards to that and shared it with the public. It's the first time I gave any sort of information in regards to myself. It ain't my autobiography, what I'm saying, but it's
Right.
something that a little more intimate. You see what I'm saying? A little more intimate, a little more insight in regards to my lessons from life. It's 100 life lessons, right? And with the mind frame that people would read it and then it would inspire them to write or inspire them to follow their passions, their dreams, and things like that because they need to be chronicled. They need to be documented in some sort of, fashion.
Right.
So, from nameless to knowledge represented a time frame in my life where I didn't want to be called anything. I kind of walked away from, the labels, whatever the things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and a path of rediscovery. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So it's like I came back into knowing who I am, right? So
Mm.
now I can fully embrace this space of knowledge and the process of making knowledge born. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The
Right.
process of taking what you know and imparting it to the people in a way that is best for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it could be born in them. You understand what I'm saying? So the folks
Exactly.
who think that they don't matter, right? The nameless ones, or the ones who don't want to be named, you still matter. You understand what I'm saying? You still
Right.
matter. Your life matters. You're here on purpose for a purpose, and that purpose it matters. You understand what I'm saying? The
Mm-hmm.
world is different if you're not physically in it. It's
Right.
different to those
Right.
people who know you, right? Back to that.
There you
You
go. There
understand
you
what I'm
go.
saying? So, that process of going from nameless to knowledge and leaving these reflections
Mm-hmm.
in regards to that. uh, was something that I enjoyed. I enjoyed creating because it gave me a chance to actually reflect. In the midst of
Mm-hmm.
writing, it still gave
Mm-hmm.
me the reflecting, and then going through and illustrating, and going through and editing, and putting all of these things together, and then making sure that I had the right music for it. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? And the right video. Like every book has a musical soundtrack, and every book
Right.
has a video at the end. You see what I'm saying? Of some sort, something that's there and additional. So,
Mm-hmm.
in the cinematic space, it's there. It's inviting. It's warm. You see yourself, and you begin to think. You understand what I'm saying? Black people deserve to think about themselves in a way that is righteous. And back to that
Right.
other word, authentic. You understand what I'm saying? In
Authentic.
an
Yeah.
authentic fashion. So, yeah, that's a beautiful question. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. Really, really, real fast. I know we was talking about family financial literacy earlier today.
Hmm.
My wife was at work. She came in, and we were actually talking about your books, and I was actually sharing it with her. I was like, yeah, like this elder right here, he wrote these series. Like we want to read them together, things of that nature. And this is the importance of having people around you that support what you do and willing to hop on board without any questions asked or anything like that. So my wife came in and laid down and she gave me this book, and the book is called Financial Destinations Inc. No More About Money. Right, so this is the,
Mm,
if y'all can see, this is the, y'all can't see, it's not gonna let y'all see, but it's the front of the book. And the reason I'm showing y'all this is because this is why I appreciate my wife. Right? She
mm,
took the conversation that we had about your work, Elder, and she then went out and found something, right? That, hey, this is another tool that we could use while dealing in his work to help us get our finances right. You see what I'm saying? And more as we get into that, is going to be okay. Well, here's other tools I could bring you to help us get into other parts of the value. You see what I'm saying? So
right.
it's very important that uh, when you are in relationships and partnerships, you are in partnerships that are beneficial to you and encouraging and enhancing your growth, because they understand that while you're growing, they're also growing, right? If you're growing in a proper manner. If you're doing something, if you're producing fruit, proper fruit, right?
Hmm.
Practical fruit, then it should be no issue to get your, whether it's your spouse or your family, to fall in line and say, okay, what you got for us, and
Hmm.
when you start producing that fruit, it just get them in even more involved. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people all the time, me coming to Bigo was supposed to be a gag joke. I'm gonna get more into that story another time. But once I've been here and people've been seeing me here, it's like, okay, now we take you more serious. And I'm not even talking about the people in the social media streets. I'm talking about the people that's around me. Because to y'all, I'm humble mystic. You see what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
to the people around me, I'm somebody else, and they're like, hey, like we don't see you like this, so But then when they come on and they actually see me do what I do, and they're like, oh, okay, okay, so what you got for us? We're support what you got for us, And my wife is one of those biggest supporters of what I do, how I do it, and so when you were earlier, that goes back to the message you were saying earlier, Elder, when you said the reason you started doing this, it wasn't for nobody outside of yourself. You started doing this because this is what you were raised up in, right?
Right.
That goes to my purpose, is because I do this because I know what the opposite of this is. I've already been through the worst of it, you know. Now, why not get the best of it, right? I've already seen all the wrongs. Might as well try all the rights. And so, um, when I look on my family, you know, we got generational curses to break. I speak about generational curses often, right? And when I look back on my family, there's a lot of generational curses that have to be broken. And if not me, then who? Right? Like you were saying earlier, Elder, you know, everybody that's born in that family have an obligation, right? They may not fully know what their or come to know what their full obligation is, but once they do, then they start to work towards that obligation. And with just within my immediate family, I see one of my obligations is to break the generational curses. You know, and one way to break the generational curses is getting us back on the right path, right? I was listening to Bob Proctor the other day, and I'm gonna land with this, Elder, because I want your take on it. I was listening to Bob Proctor the other day, and he was talking about he was in Washington D.C. somewhere, and
Mm-hmm.
on top of the thing it said, "Freedom isn't free." He said it was written in 1970 somewhere, and he said upon it said, "Freedom isn't free." And he went on and expounded, was like, well, think about it. It really isn't free, right? You have to pay money for the life you want to enjoy. And it's like that right there is why I do this. Because it's easy to sit up here and say, well, we free. We ain't slaves no more. Yeah, but you know, it's summertime coming up. Can you and your family go to Cancun? Can you take your children to Disneyland just because you want to? I don't think so. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like when I think about these things and I put that grind in and I put that time in, right? Um, it just make me self-reflect on my family and you know the future of what I'm trying to build, right? And it also allowed me to have opportunities to meet people that are able to enhance my growth. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I'm only 33. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, by the time I'm 60, by the time I'm, you know, in my 50s, 60s, I'm then able to have accumulated enough knowledge and turned it into wisdom. So then I will truly be able to come back and do my part and really partake, you know, into some more wisdom and knowledge onto the community, you know. So it's just man, just I love having. Listen, brother, me and you gonna have to talk some more, my guy. Real fast. You say
Yeah.
you be doing shows too. What platform are you on?
I'm on YouTube. You know, uh,
Okay,
yeah, a couple of thousand of my shows can be found over there on
okay.
YouTube.
I gotta. If you can really fast, can you put it in the Can you put your YouTube in the comments?
Yeah, I got you.
So that way, because I would love to come on your show one day.
Yeah, definitely come on through. You know,
Oh
you at
yeah.
A1, y'all invited. Definitely.
Peace and blessings to the chat. We appreciate y'all. We see y'all down there. We appreciate y'all engagement. You know, thank y'all so much for just you know engaging in the comments while we up here doing our thing. Do the knowledge radio. Got you. I'm gonna screenshot that real fast. Uh, wow. I got it. I got it. Okay. Um, and do the knowledge radio. So I assume it's a radio station on YouTube. Can you tell us more about that, Elder?
Definitely. I started it, 11 years ago, August 29th, 2015. Like, so going into the
Mm,
11th year, right? Um,
mm,
it was created as a voice of the voiceless. So for the last decade, I've said that, being a voice for the voiceless. I recently changed it, as you
right.
complete a cipher, things change to the voice of the voiceful. You see what I'm saying? So the
Mm,
tagline for Do Not Radio is a place where knowledge is born. You know,
right.
Myself and my brother YG Preach, shout out to him, Dynamic Mind. And check out his channel as well, called Preach Perspective. My brother YG Preach. He has
Right.
amazing content up there, growth emergent, and deals with these things in a righteous manner. So the goal for it
Most definitely.
was to give credence to a perspective. Well, Do Not Radio. The goal was to give light and credence to those who were behind the scenes. They may not have been
Right.
known by the world. You see what I'm saying? My mother helped just as much, if not more, than a Dr. Sabi. You see what I'm saying? In the same kind of way. But Dr. Sabi
Right.
was helping celebrities. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a different thing. He was helping celebrities, so that became something that gave him the notoriety that many of the other herbalists didn't want. They didn't want that notoriety because it came
I
with
agree. Yeah.
court cases. It came with assassination attempts. It came with
Yep. Yep. Yep.
discrediting and
Yep.
all of these other things. So he took the brunt of that, so that the other people could just continue to do what they did for as long as they did. You see what I'm saying? My mother worked with him. My
Hmm.
mother worked with Dr. Africa. My mother worked with Dick Gregory.
Right.
I worked with a lot of people. She worked with Dr. Matula Shakur.
Oh, Dick
Helping people
Gregory is one of my
thing.
idols.
So this platform was dedicated to those people who went unsung. You see what I'm saying? The people who
Right.
were behind the scenes, to bring them to the forefront, and then also give us face and the credence to the people of now. The people of now and the people of tomorrow. So you know,
Right.
was created with that thing in mind. So for the last now 11
Hmm.
years, that's been the goal, the aim, and objective. My platform is a guest centered platform. It's a guest centered platform. So
Right.
you know, these thousands of episodes that are available are, for the guests. Every once in a while I might give my perspective or my outlook on something, but mainly it's centered around,
Right.
the guest. So a guest in the platform versus, people come
Hmm.
on for the antics of the host or whatever the host want to talk about, and blah, blah, blah. So definitely was one of those unique qualities and factors that was a differentiator about Do Noun's Radio, because it's about the people. There were people in the audience that just called in to listen,
Hmm.
and they came on and they wound up
Right.
becoming guests. And then some of those people who were guests one
Hmm.
time wound up being able to have their own show on the platform. So I had a podcast network
Right.
for a
Right.
minute as well. So you start off as a listener, and ain't no telling where you could go in that regard. So that was that. Let me
My
I
bad. I had to
wanna
be. No, I had to be that real quick.
it's all
Out
good,
here,
you know what
buddy.
I'm saying?
Out
Happy
here. Peace
Father's
and
Day, you know what I'm
blessings.
saying? Happy Father's Day, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be there for the fam, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I wanna play
Oh,
something, if I could, real quick.
yes,
Uh
sir. Yes, sir.
my sister Empress is in the building, and she did something dynamic for me. Uh honest to her and her family. She does amazing work. So I'm going to play this real quick, if I could. I just need a half a second to get it real quick.
Take your time, Elder. Take your time. You get.
Yeah, let me just Get this real quick. Take me a little second. All right, boom, got it. All right, just make sure I got the sound right over here. I don't hear it though. Here we go. All right, am I still good? Can you hear me?
Yep. Soon as you drop it in the soon as you drop it in the thing, I'll be able to pop it up on the screen.
All right.
Shout out to the elder man, because that's something. I'm gonna add this to the screen. Before I add it to the screen, I just want to say really fast. That's a listen, man. That's a inspiration all of in itself. You know, giving a voice to the voiceless. Um, I know, I've ran countless of platforms. On other platforms, I ran countless of panels where as though that's what the panels were about, giving a voice to those who didn't really have a space or fit in, but they were brilliant, man. And they were just the people in the shadows. You go into the crooks and nannies, you find the diamonds in the rough. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
shout out to Do That Knowledge Radio. Shout out to Do That Knowledge Radio, y'all. Go out and subscribe. Go out and subscribe, y'all. So I'm gonna add it to the stage. All right, bow. It's up there.
All right, I'm gonna play it now.
Days, oh, better days are coming. Better days, oh, better days are coming.
Down here in the trenches where I come from.
Black love is black power. It's the central nucleus, the heartbeat of melanin, when masculine and feminine blend in and make mother and father creators of beautiful young life. Yes, mothers of movement and fathers of legacy, creating bloodlines that stretch back to the beginning of time. Come, let's go on a stroll through history, bearing witness to the intricate networks grounded in kinship, communal cooperation, and cultural celebration. Come, follow me through matrilineal and patrilineal systems, sitting side by side, royalty, looking down from on high. This black love couldn't be disrupted all through the unimaginable savage massacre. Sacrilege it was. Chains on ankles and chains on wrists. There was no such tragedy as this. But my hand never left yours, so we remained whole and complete. This wasn't a fairy tale they play on Disney to get folks to be complacent. This is several generations of hurt inside of determination and patience. Patience. Black love is black power because it can't be dissolved. Black love is black power because it can withstand it all.
Got too much living to do, too much living to do. Ancestors, please come protect my life. What with that thing on me?
Better days.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Shout out to that sister right there, man. That was
Yeah,
amazing.
shout out to Empress Phoenix Ache. You know what I'm saying? And she has a platform, My New Voice. You know what I'm saying? My New Voice is a dope platform. She gives her breakdowns on things that are happening out in the social media landscape, the entertainment industry, all
Mm,
kinds of aspects. You see what I'm saying? Mainstream media. Her brilliant mind. That's her, her family. You saw her family. You saw her and her husband. Shout out to the king,
wow.
Obasiai. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Peace to my brother. Peace to the God. You understand what I'm saying? Like this is a dynamic black family that comes from a dynamic black
Yes.
family. You see what I'm saying? So again, I asked her to look at one of the volumes that resonated with her.
No, Jada, out, out. I'm on my live. Hold on one second. No,
All good.
I'm on my live. Shut this door. She sleep. Oh, I ain't even muted. I apologize, y'all.
All good. All good. Handle your business. So yeah, that's her and her family. You see what I'm saying? Like you see the brother and his family. You know what I'm saying? Like literally it's
Yeah.
happening.
Look, every time, look, as soon as mama get home, everybody want to come bother mama.
Yeah,
She ain't, is sleeping
yeah.
right now. I'm like, leave her alone. Let her rest.
Daddy don't matter when mama get there, okay? So it's like, all right, I need something. I need some mama. You understand what
I
I'm
need
saying?
something.
Yeah, so that's her and her family. So again, a dynamic black family that comes from a dynamic black family. See what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
dynamic black families give birth to dynamic black families. So their children, they grow up with these creative parents who are sound, who are working things out, who are working to bring the best out of each other. Like you were saying about you and your queen. See what I'm saying? Y'all had a build and she came back like, boom, here you go, fam. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the kinds of add-ons that we're looking to build. You
Right,
see what I'm saying? And because these are the families for our futures. You
right.
see what I'm saying? So we're changing the face on what black family is because the entertainment industry had declared war on black families since uh 1913, I think. 1913, 1915. Whenever Birth of a Nation came out,
Mm-hmm.
D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, whenever that came out, there was a war. And in that war, it's been ever since we came here, or if you
Yeah,
indigenous to the landmass, so as long as you've been here, either way it goes, right? Whether you were
right.
brought here or you were here, either way it goes, there was a space to where they declared war on the black family. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
By making us the villains in the story and
Right.
making them the heroes. So with D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, they showed the Ku Klux Klan, the
Mm.
resurgence and the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. And, membership went up 10,000% based off of it.
Oh, wow.
There were no black people in that film,
Right,
but they were
right.
in blackface. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
So they showed it all over the place. So, when they said when the Klan came on, the people in the theaters, they cheered. They got up to they stood up on their feet, standing ovation. So they came in as the hero.
Right.
So by default, we're the villain. So
Where the
we're
villains.
vilified.
Right.
So that means that anytime that you see us cinematically, whether it's the entertainment industry, whether it's mainstream media, whatever the case may be, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
be vilified. You see what I'm saying? We're going to
Yep.
be
Yep.
vilified.
Yep.
So it's going to be movies and television shows and anything that has to deal with theater to misrepresent us. There are other aspects to that from their perspective, but from our perspective, if we see somebody, you know, acting a fool or making fun of us, we'll make ourselves look like a bigger fool in that regard.
There you
You
go.
see what I'm saying? So it'll be all of this other stuff that's surrounding that.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be a justification saying that it's just comedy. But it's not.
Exactly. It's
Because
not.
the minds that ingested the mind itself, not
Mm-hmm.
just the person, the mind itself can't interpret the fake from the real.
Right. There you go.
So
There you
you
go.
know, our ancients and our elders would tell us, watch what you speak over yourself because the
Mm.
universe don't know if you playing or not. You understand what I'm
There
saying?
you go.
So
There you
those
go.
I am statements and all these things that we internalize, from these perspectives, us having to be mindful of that because it could be to our detriment. You
Yep.
understand what I'm saying? So
Yep.
we're speaking against ourselves,
Yep.
versus speaking life. So this black family was speaking life into the black family by their example. You see what I'm saying? Not just
Yep.
their words alone. So she sings, she raps, she does poetry, as you heard. He sings, he raps, he does poetry, and they build their family together. They make each other better. You understand what I'm saying? They bring the
Yep.
best parts out of one another, and they give birth to the best parts. You see their children.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is again, back to this little small point about our future. It's worth it. It's worth it for you to heal. It's worth it for you to be in optimal health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's worth it. Your future generations come from what you're building
There you
or
go.
what you're destroying.
There you
So I
go.
appreciate you allowing me to, play that real quick.
Most definitely, most definitely. We're gonna get into one more thing before we close it down, Elder. Um, so one of my biggest gripes that people talk about against the black or melanated, I like to call it the melanated community. Some people like to say black egg, tomato, tomato. But one of the
Everybody got melanin.
there you go. Uh,
So the melanated community, just a thought real quick on that.
yeah.
With the melanated community, uh, when I say black and those who utilize black, I
Mhm.
understand what the Moors are saying. And if I'm in the courtroom, I ain't going there ask no black person. You understand what I'm saying? But black, like the essence of the universe,
Mhm.
the dark matter that and the dark energy that created the universe ain't melanated. It's black. You
Mm,
understand what I'm saying? So this is where we come from. We come from that essence. So when I say black, that's what I mean. Like
black. Okay.
blackness, black love, black power, like the creator and our ancestors intended it to be. You understand what I'm saying? Those
Mhm.
aspects of
Mhm.
nature, right? So the melanated people, the melanated family includes everybody. So now there's nothing to it in that regard.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's
Okay.
everybody. Everybody has melanin. But when you're talking about yourself and specificity, saying who you are, that's what that is.
Mm.
So I ain't dealing with the tug of war situation with you in
No,
that
no, no.
regard.
That's
I'm
great.
I'm saying in regards to how you identify yourself is very important. You have to
Right.
know where to identify yourself. Like I said, I ain't going into this place, acting like
Mhm.
chattel or be having no standing in law. If I got to go in there, I know how to present myself. I learned
There
from the
you go.
best in there. You
There you
understand what I'm
go.
saying? But as far as what I'm looking to ascribe to me eternally, the eternal stars, the eternal
Mm.
darkness of the sky, the universe, this womb of space that we exist in is black, and we
Mhm.
black like that. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Mhm.
when we're talking about those things, we're talking about ascribing to that essence
To
that
the
the
essence.
universe is birthed
Right.
in, the planets exist in, the sun within the solar system exists in. All of that exists in that triple state of darkness of the mind, the triple state of
Right.
darkness of the womb, the
Right.
triple state of darkness of the universe. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's.
we talking black from that perspective. We're not talking black like no crayon. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We're
Mhm.
talking about we're connected to the eternal, immortal source forever. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
so.
Get into it.
That was
Oh,
me, partner.
let me drop
You
that
had the
bomb.
question. You had the
That bomb.
question.
Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
get in the zone.
Listen, I love it. I love it. I love it. So the question was, so the gripe I have with many people that talk about us is the fact that they say we haven't done what we've done in the late 19th centuries, 18th centuries again because we're lazy. We haven't done it because we don't want the education. We haven't done it because we don't support ourselves. Like we've heard all these excuses on why we haven't been back to the pinnacle of where we were back in the day when we had Black Wall Street and we had the top rising, black communities. And for me personally, the reason that that's a gripe for me is because it shows the ignorance, or they're ignoring all of the slaughter that came behind that
Mm,
our people had to witness, right?
right,
If you and your people had to witness two horses ripping your father apart, who else gonna stand up to this man? Nobody.
mm-hmm,
They just ripped apart the most strongest person in your family.
right,
So to ignore the fact that at the height of our pinnacle, they were dropping out people like flies, and it has an effect on how we operate today,
mm-hmm,
right? And you was just speaking on it moments ago of like, after all that stuff was happening, like people had to start going into hiding because they like, they was killing people. Like,
right.
we had to hold up now. All right, let's go over here because they doing some stuff to our people over there. We can't all get caught up into that. And so it's like the recognition of that. Do you feel like that get overlooked at times when we talking about um regrowing, right, our community, re-uplifting and re-emerging our communities? Do you think that get overlooked a lot?
Are you talking about from the atrocities that we faced
Yes.
that came along with standing up? I
Yes.
think that your parasympathetic nervous system deals with something that they would term defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So the defense mechanism is designed to keep you safe. That suicide force that I was talking about
Mm-hmm.
earlier, that's what that is. That's the
Right.
defense mechanism. See what I'm saying? It's designed to keep you safe. It's designed to keep you in a space of homeostasis. So
Mm-hmm.
this aspect of this particular force will have you forget something,
Right.
something traumatic to keep you away from it. You understand what I'm saying? To keep you safe. But the Heru, his nephew,
Mm.
is designed to keep you unsafe. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? This is where hero comes from, Heru. You see what I'm saying? So the
Uh-huh.
Heru force that's in you is like, nah, we about to stand up. Nah, we about to fight. Nah,
Yep. Yep.
we about to get redeemed. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what they do. They, no matter how many times I die, I'm going to come back. I'm going to
Yep.
continue to fight. You see what I'm saying? Like so, get used to it. I'm coming back. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
Yep.
that aspect of your being, that's the fight aspect. You
Mm.
see what I'm saying? Not the flight aspect, right?
There
So
you
the
go.
fight and the flight, the Heru and the Sutesh is going back and forth. One wants to keep you safe, right? And one wants to make sure that everything else is safe, regardless of your safety. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? With no
Right.
regard to the safety, right? So now that's how that goes, right? So in in your brain, if it's something crazy traumatic, it might cut it off from you to keep you alive as a
Mm.
sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? So to keep you at that path, because once you start thinking about it, you automatically go back to it. You
Mm-hmm.
relive it over and over and over and over again. So every time you think about it, right? my mother got wrestler. You understand? She told me one day. She said, I'm gonna whoop your behind every time I think about it. Every time I think about what you did, I'm gonna whoop you again. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you understand what I'm saying? It's like, all
Right.
right,
Right. Right.
you know. So it's a thought, right? Because that's a thing
Mm-hmm.
that you have to live with. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like this is what you're gonna live with. And it wasn't until I had children
Mm.
that I understood what that was, where it was like, oh, this gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
You have to live with that, right? You don't want to do anything to your loved ones, like you see what I'm saying. But you're looking to correct behavior, and this is what she
Yes.
had to deal with from that regard. In essence, like she
Mm-hmm.
like you know you can do better than what you're doing, right? So this was her hurt. That's in her heart to
Right.
hear that somebody had to call her and tell her about her child. She knows
Yeah.
all of her children in the most essence of ways, like in the highest spiritual essence. She knows
Mm-hmm.
everything about you, everything you are, and everything you will be. She's seen it before it ever
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So There's no way in the world that somebody's calling her about one of her children, saying that we was out there doing some wild stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
now she you know she correcting with that physical justice. You understand what I'm saying? And she
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's no way in the world, right? So no way in the world. So when you start to think about these things that are said, oh, you lazy and this and that, all of that stuff is all of the stuff that we took off of the plantation. All of
Mm.
those things, that all that plantation politics, all that plantation behavior, all of these things we call tough love, all of these other things, somebody's going to berate you and disrespect you and clown you
Mm.
and talk noise and stuff to you, and then want
Exactly.
you to go be great. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's
Exactly.
no way in the world, right? No way in the world. So the aspect in regard to that, they don't give enough credence to it, because now you have to deal with it. You have to deal
Right.
with those things. You have to deal with those wounds. You have to deal with those scars. You have to deal with that trauma. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
our children, our families deserve to be able to grow up in an environment that's trauma free.
Mm-hmm.
They no longer inherit it epigenetically. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yep.
So we do no longer have to grow up in a society where where we become maladjusted.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
We deserve to grow up in a society. We deserve to grow up in family. We deserve to grow up in a nation that
Mm.
doesn't have to deal with these maladies. You understand what I'm saying? Again, like I said at earlier in the bill, a thing of the past, a thing that they could read about. You understand, or
Right.
look at a movie about, like, not something that they have to live and endure.
Mm-hmm.
So these other aspects of comparison is how you make devil, how you make war.
Right.
So if you have, you know, you said you got twin boys, right?
Yep. Twin boys. One
Perfect,
light skin and
perfect
one dark skin.
example. Right, right. Perfect example. You say, why can't you be more like your brother? You understand what I'm saying? You don't even understand the psychological detriment and the battle royale that you started. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now you ain't got twin boys, you got Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel. Right. Right.
So when one's countenance falls for the other one, now it becomes something. They're
Mm.
doing the same thing, right? They're doing the same thing. They're giving of the same space, but they're not giving from the same place, right? So
Yeah.
if when I got in trouble, my older brother and I got in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So my older brother used to be able to get away with stuff. I couldn't get away with nothing. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like nothing. I used to try to do what he was doing, and nah, he got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came time for the recompense, we both got it. So now he mad. Now we fighting. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not winning. I'm not gonna win. I'm fighting my hardest, but I ain't gonna win. So
Right.
now I got
Right.
whooped twice. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? I
Yep.
got this
Yep.
situation with my older physical, and then that divine justice, because my mother ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
miss that.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? Versus when it's me by myself, he would, try to delay that. He would go and be like an intermediary for me. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? But if we both getting whooped, he can't be no intermediary for me. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
So these aspects of what that
Right.
entails in regards to looking at these sets of circumstances that happened to people who stood up, that
Right.
psychological buck breaking that we're talking about, nobody wants to deal with that. So they don't even want to talk about that too. You see what I'm saying? They don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We know what happened in the past. No, you don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We know what they did. No, you don't. Because you don't know what they're doing right now. Like, what they did denotes past tense. What's in present tense? What are they doing right now? And what will they do in the future? You see what I'm saying? So, in regards to what that is, that's not something to harp on. It's something to present in regards to this case that we laying out in that regard. So, what kind of future do we want to look at? What kind of future do we want to have envision? And what are the steps that we're going to take necessarily to get there? Do we need another Black Wall Street? There were several. You understand what I'm saying? Do we need that? or do we need to look at something else? You see what I'm saying? Can we look at those models and say, okay, if we're going to create something, what can we create? And then what's our system of governance? What's our system of, you know, commerce? And what's our
Right.
system like? Is it long term sustainability if that's
Uh-huh.
the goal? You know what I mean? So all these things, you know, together, working at these aspects, we can look at the best part and the poor part, and they might be subjective based off of where you at. So when you look at the best part, it requires action. If you look at the poor part, it requires inaction. You see what I'm saying? These are both requirements in that space. So when when you regard the first law of nature, which is self-preservation, there's things you'll do and things you won't do. When you have no regard for that self-preservation factor, you can do anything. You understand what I'm saying? You can do anything. And that's relative, whether it's positive or negative. So you can do whatever you put your mind to, right? Whatever you put your mind to do in that regard. So yeah, I know that there are people who might say that, and then they might look at it. You understand what I'm saying? Like Tupac and Juice, like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, we ain't ish. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, and then, you know, Q looked at him, he's like, what's your problem? Then he said, you. You understand what I'm saying? Like you, my problem. You understand? So that means that he was dealing with things, and when he got to that point of dissatisfaction, he finally let it out. He finally let it out. He's looking at, you know, his enemies out there. They ain't worried about nothing in the world. You see what I'm saying? And he's dissatisfied, and he just wants respect. You see what I'm saying? He just wants respect. You want in that scene, he said, "You want respect, you gotta earn it." You know what I'm saying? And he said, you daggone right." You see what I'm saying? So he's painting the picture about his dissatisfaction and frustration, and he's telling the people that's close to him, but he's also creating dissenting factions in that regard. Earlier that day, they was good. Everybody was good. By the end of that day, they were never the same ever again. You see what I'm saying? So once that dissatisfaction and dissension comes in, that's it. Ain't nobody unifying. So when Raheem came back with the gun, that was the equalizer. That was all that was necessary to take a guy from, you know, he was their brother, their friend, they grew up together, and he was like, yo, we used to be like brothers, right? This is what you saying. Nah, we used to be like brothers. Everybody laid out everything that they wanted to have on the table, and that was it. It was over with. You understand what I'm saying? So when we start to look at, you know, these aspects and how they work like that. So somebody will tell you, oh, we ain't doing, uh, you know, what these things was from the past and blah 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 blah. And if you don't take the time to see why they said that or how they following this space of conclusion, you're just going to infer. So that infer might be something that has an infernal fire or spark in you, for you to want to lash out or whatever the case may be. So if we don't hear each other, we're not communicating. You see what I'm saying? I call it God muning in that regard. We God mune. We ain't conning nobody. You see what I'm saying? We ain't having no conversation. We having God conversation. You see what I'm saying? We dealing with that divine mind from one divine mind to the other one. Again, unless you're talking to somebody who a fool. You understand what I'm saying? And the fool is the twin of the wise. So, you know, they could be foolish. And if you're engaging with them in that regard, they're gonna bring the fool out of you, whether you wise or not. You see what I'm saying? So that's their job. So the last thing I'll say, you know, in regards to that is when you're dealing with symptom analysis versus root cause analysis, it's something completely different. You know, when you go to the doctors, their job is to suppress symptoms. You got a headache? Okay, take this, and you won't have a headache. The pain is a reminder or an indicator, like a check engine light. Something is
Right.
wrong. It ain't the headache. You understand what I'm saying? Something is wrong with one of them key systems of your body that needs your attention. So your body, like, yo, fam, something wrong with me. You need to figure that
Right.
out. You understand what I'm saying? So not the symptoms as they present, a a complete diagnostic check
Mm-mm.
of the body. You see what I'm saying? The doctor not giving you that. They're gonna run some tests
Yep.
and they're
Yep.
going to
Yep.
experiment and they're going to practice on you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
All of
Yep.
that's there. So when we're able to, add on with one another and build with one another and hear each other's perspectives and hear each other out and where they're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
then that becomes something harmonious
Exactly.
versus something detrimental.
Most definitely. Most definitely. We're gonna get one more word from our sponsors, and then I'm gonna say my closing remarks, and then we're gonna, end the closing remarks with the elder knowledge born Allah, and then we're gonna play our song, and then we're gonna get out of here, family. Let's get into it.
Let's pause the noise for a second, because if you're still here right now, you're already different. Not everyone gets this. Not everyone understands real debate, real scholarship, real intellectual smoke. But you do. This is Coliseum of Arguments. This is Titans Debate League. And what happens here doesn't survive on algorithms. It survives on the people who believe in it. When you support through Cash App, you're not just donating. You're fueling the arena. You're the reason we can bring in high-level guests. You're the reason we keep unbiased judges. You're the reason these debates stay sharp, fair, and uncompromised. This platform is built by thinkers, sustained by supporters, protected by the ones who know value when they see it. If this show has ever sharpened your mind, has ever entertained you, or has ever challenged what you thought you knew, then Cash App is how you say, keep this going. Not everyone contributes, but the ones who do, they're part of what makes this real. Coliseum of Arguments, Titans Debate League, powered by the people who get it.
All right, all right. And please support the elder at Knowledge Born Allah Cash App. Knowledge Born Allah. That's his Cash App. I'm gonna close out Elder Knowledge Born Allah. This was an amazing show. One of the most fun shows I've had since I've been on YouTube. Less stress, easy flowing. Hey man, listen, man, you talk behind the scenes and hey, look, you was like, I'm easy going. I said I'm easy going, and I think it proved it here tonight that hey, look, this is what happened when you get two easy going brothers, a humble student and a wise elder in the room together. This is the type of information that you can expect. This is the type of value that you can expect out of these type of interactions. Uh, just as he did on the previous panel, the brother Allah uh, dropped massive amount of jewels on me, and I know he did for some of the ones in the comments that caught him. Listen, man, he gonna have me hop off, go ahead, do some more studying, get into my bag, and say, all right, so let me incorporate some more of this. And so just for that approach, this just for your presence, Elder, I want to appreciate you. And I thank you for even coming up, even agreeing to it. I want to appreciate Brother A1 once again for just giving me the platform to allow humble to be humble. You know what I'm saying? One thing I could say about the boss man is he's very hands off. He like, hey, listen, I trust you to go out there and do your thing. And that's what I do. I come on here, I do my thing, and apparently, people vibe with it. So we're gonna continue to rock out. Y'all know how it is. And with that, y'all, I appreciate y'all. We appreciate everybody with the engagements and the comments. With that, I land my plane. We're gonna move on to the elder knowledge born Allah. Go ahead, brother. Close us out.
I appreciate you. I appreciate A1. This platform is A1. You understand what I'm saying? So his name and his platform go together. Shout out to the debaters. Continue to express yourself and express your message and leave your imprint on the world scholastically, academically, and sound. You see what I'm saying? So these topics that y'all touching on, the things that y'all are doing here, people are going to see it from, time to come, like time and years from now. You see what I'm saying? So the ones who are the young lions of the future, they're going to be looking back to the past and they're going to find you. They're going to find your work. So make sure you're presenting your best self and your best work, to the story seekers and to the storytellers out here. The world is in need of your story. The world is in need of your story. Your message matters just like your life matters. Your life becomes your light. And then that message is an extension of that light in that life. So being the best ambassadors of your bloodline, the best ambassadors of your future. So think about your children's children, as we were talking about earlier in regards to inheritance. What are you leaving behind for the people who are coming after you to glean from, to pick up from? You understand what I'm saying? And I got mad love and respect for you, Brother Humble. You see what I'm saying? Like, this was amazing. You see what I'm saying? This was amazing. And, I would love to come back, you know what I mean? And, continue to build, continue to add on. And, shout out to your audience and shout out to the people. You see what I'm saying? So you A1, shout out to A1. This is A1. And, the people who tuning in and will tune in, they're A1 as well. So
Most
thank you for the opportunity.
Let's get ahead
and real quick to get my books. Voices of the Diaspora ebook series, all 13 books. I'm putting this in the chat now so you can get those books to be able to, help me in my efforts to continue on in filming. You see what I'm saying? In filming, this docuseries, this web series, all of these things that we're looking to do and continuing to grow from that aspect. You can find me on Do Knowledge Radio. You can find me on social media at Knowledge Won't Allow on Instagram, at Knowledge Won't Allow 357, and Knowledge Won't Allow or Do Knowledge Radio on Facebook. Reach out to me if you're looking to share your story. I know our brother Humble, he's going to come through on the platform. And A1 going to come through on the platform. And, we're going to continue to build and continue to collaborate.
Most definitely. Please support the elder. Listen, amazing work. If you don't, here's what I'm going to say before we close out. If you are a young individual that is looking for a solid foundation because you didn't come from a solid foundation, please pick up this elder's book. This elder's book would give you a sense of what that foundation looked like. So, and it's practical information. It's not something you gotta wait for. It's not something you gotta hope for. It's something that you can start applying to your life today to start improving your life for tomorrow. So most definitely go pick up the elder's book. And with that, y'all, we're gonna close it out. Let's get into it.
Family all around me. Family all around me. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. He my family, she my family. We are family. We might have the same last name, but that don't make you my family. I got some people with the same blood, and I know that they can't stand me. I got some people I call that ain't kin, that's gonna pull up and handle it. They take care of that business like family. We come from them trenches like family. They talking, you listen, that's family. They don't tell your business, that's family. They calling your phone, coming looking for you. They say that you missing, that's family. They don't need permission, that's family. When you hurt, they get feeling, that's family. Let them come while you're cheering, that's family. Let them come when you living, that's family. Family all around me.